My name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel.
Now, today we just want to have another conversation on the 3 C's of a successful relationship. Now, we won't go into talking about all of them, but we just pick one today.
Yes, there are 3 C's of a successful marriage from our point of view. Number 1 is character. You need a good character to build a quality marital relationship. Number 2 is commitment.
Yeah.
Even when you have character, you need to be committed to the relationship to make it work. And then number 3 is relationship competence, and that is what we will be looking at today.
Relationship competence. I think this is a very important element for building a successful relationship. Now, relationship is not developed and sustained by default.
Yes.
So people would need to get into mastering the arts of how you can sustain a good relationship and keep it successful. Now, anyone can start a relationship, anybody basically. So you can find a gentleman and meets a lady. Before you say Jack, there's a chemistry between them.
Yeah.
You're able to connect. And after a few weeks, a real relationship journey starts. Now, if the two of them do not have the competence to take that relationship into another level, then that's also a problem.
Like you were saying here, it could fizzle out, and sometimes they can push the relationship to the level of getting married. For some people, the journey of a relationship ends in marriage.
Yes.
Such that when they are married, they think they have actually succeeded in the relationship. But we see that marriage is just the first step of the journey.
Yes, there's a whole journey ahead,
Yeah.
and marriage is step 1.
Yeah, and when you get into that step 1, that is when everything you have, all the skills you've developed while single, are supposed to be put into practice.
Absolutely.
And one of them is competence.
Competence.
You have to be competent to make your relationship work. And we also want to say that this relationship competence is not a one-off thing.
Yeah.
It's not something, once you've mastered it, that's the end of it.
No,
It
you
is
work in
progressive.
progress. Yes.
It's something you keep building. For instance, if we were talking about communication skills as one of the competencies, you need to keep developing your communication skills. It's something that is ongoing. But today we will be looking at a very important element of competence. Do you want to introduce that?
Before I go ahead to introduce that, now if you're new on our channel, please do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, share with someone, and also tell us in the comment section what you think. And for our returning subscribers, it's great to see you every time engage in the content that we're constantly putting out. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves and I go on to tell you what exactly we want to talk about in terms of competence, I want to say that there is a lot of flexibility in terms of mindset, what needs to come into play in all of this. You must have an open mind. You must keep working. You must keep upskilling yourself, becoming more competent in managing your relationship. Now, one of the areas that we feel is really important to touch on is anger management skills.
That's an important competence every married person needs to have.
Yes. I know we've talked about communication in the past, and that's one. But we want to focus on anger management because a lot of our subscribers and a lot of people we've been having conversation with have been asking us lots of questions about this, and we said, okay, we're going to do a video just to touch on this, and it's all about us sharing our views. I know it might differ with yours, but please feel free to tell us in the comment section what you think about what we're going to be discussing today. Now, let me just start by saying that anger is a normal, neutral emotion that is neither good or bad. It all depends on how it is managed.
Are you for real? You're saying anger is not bad? Because when you mention the word anger, for me, what comes to mind is negative emotion.
Yes.
Yeah, but with what you say anger is neutral.
It is. I mean, you can feel angry, but it all depends on how you go about expressing your anger.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the point where a lot of people get it wrong, because every human being feels anger
at one point or the other.
Definitely.
It depends on how they manage it.
Exactly. So how do you manage the anger? Anger sends a message or a signal that a situation or an event, that an individual, something that has been done to someone is unfair. So basically someone is saying, no, I'm not happy about something. But then, how do you express that unjust or unacceptable wrong that has been done to you?
Okay, that means anger becomes unhealthy or problematic, especially in a relationship, if it is expressed in a harmful way.
Yes, in a negative way.
Yes.
I mean, because whatever you do with that emotion, you do it in such a way that it doesn't harm yourself and the other person in the relationship. And I think that a lot of people do not know how or where to draw the line, where the boundaries are. And I think that this is why it's becoming more problematic in a relationship, and also when you get into marriage, it becomes even more visible.
If you've not learned how to manage the emotion of anger.
Yes.
Now let's look at anger. Maybe we can look at it from two perspectives.
Yes.
The first part is assertive or constructive anger. If we are saying that anger is neutral,
yes,
or is a sign that something unjust has been done to someone, it means there's a positive element of anger.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is when someone is angry about evil, about injustice, about moral decadence, about violence, human rights abuse,
about inequality,
poverty,
exactly,
things you're not happy about. And those things don't have to do with an individual, it has to do with a circumstance
or issues
around unfairness to other people.
Yes.
So that's a positive anger. And then if it is managed or channeled in a proper way, it could be a pointer that something you don't like, this problem is a pointer to what you need to solve, the problem you need to solve. So
it's about basically driving the individual to champion change.
Yes. It's like, for me, for instance, if I don't like a situation where couples are having issues in their marriage,
yes,
you know, struggling because they don't have the right information, and I'm angry about it, it's a pointer that I need to do something about.
That's justifiable.
Yes.
Yes.
But then if I'm angry to the point of breaking the law, to the point of doing something wrong,
or harming somebody,
then it's a problem.
Yes, it is a problem.
Yeah.
So again, this type of anger that you've just highlighted
the assertive and constructive anger,
is not destructive.
All right.
It is basically a product of one's sense of morality. So again, looking at the fact that someone is seeking justice or seeking fairness or seeking basic dignity, for example. So,
like you're saying, I think this is the point where you see people protesting.
Yes.
They are angry with the political situation of a certain country and they are protesting.
Yes.
Or they are angry because the environment is being treated unfairly.
Yes.
And they are protesting.
Yes.
So, anger in this sense is a positive thing.
Yeah, justifiable.
Yes.
It is justifiable. Now you've actually told us about the first part. The second bit, or the second type of anger, which I think this is the main problem, or that leads to a lot of problems in relationship, is the negative anger. Now, this type of anger can be linked to one's behavior or even the behavior of others. You can get overwhelmed, you can get frustrated by your inadequacies, your shortcoming, or even your inability to manage life circumstances. You know, so a lot of people find themselves that, you know, instead of trying and learning to cope and thinking about ways to manage the situation effectively, they then resort to lashing out on others, lashing out on themselves, being too hard on themselves. It's also, you know, like this sort of anger, I think, is a result of perceived negative behavior of even the spouse in the relationship.
So bringing it to the context of marriage, you're angry because there's something your spouse has done wrong, or you're angry because there's something you expect your spouse to do, and he or she is not doing it.
Yes, or met expectations.
Exactly.
Yes.
So maybe you have emotional needs you think your spouse is supposed to meet. It's not meeting it. Or the person is doing something and you've warned the person, please don't do this, I don't like it.
And
the person
repeat.
keeps doing it.
Yes.
And you're so angry and frustrated about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So rather than seeking a constructive way of actually dealing with the situation, talking about it, then you then just go into default mode. You resort to being angry. And you're kind of frustrated. Now, this type of anger, I just want to say, would destroy your relationship.
Yeah, there are so many relationships that have been destroyed, or marriage.
Yes.
That have been destroyed because one or two of them refuse to learn how to manage the emotion of anger. Well, I think beyond what someone has done, maybe you're angry about your spouse, there is also another element to it. Some people use anger as a defense mechanism. They know that they have an area of weakness, or there is something they don't like about themselves, and rather than confront
and talk about it,
take responsibility for whatever they've not done
said,
right, they use anger as a defense mechanism. Take for instance, as a spouse, you've done something wrong to your partner. Rather than apologizing, owning up to what you've done wrong, you don't want to look weak. You don't want to look like you're the weak person in the relationship. I don't want to apologize. Now you resort to getting angry, pushing it down the throat of your spouse. That probably he or she is wrong.
So you'll find a lot of manipulation, a lot of intimidation, a lot of dominance in that sort of what would I call it? Is it a situation, or is it a anger management style?
Approach,
Yes. They try to control the other person using anger as a tool.
Yes.
So rather than saying, look, I'm going to own up to this, I'm going to apologize, and we'll find a way to resolve this, anger then is seen as a negative tool for selfish purpose, for selfish interest. And now we can go on and on this type of anger, but I want to say that this is an emotion that is not good for any relationship.
Look at it this way. As a man, I know maybe I've done something wrong to you. Rather than me coming to you to say I'm sorry, I know that if I become angry and intimidating and aggressive, you may not even ask me what I did wrong. So if I've done it before and it worked, it becomes a way to get away with certain things. And some people do it a lot. It's not good for any relationship. If you're using anger as a tool to intimidate, to dominate, to be so aggressive, to make your spouse to look weak, it is a wrong strategy.
Negative anger can be divided into two depending on different ways people express it. And I think the one way people express it is explosive anger. Now, some individuals, they do not know how to manage their angry feelings. And the only thing they know is to explode emotionally. They can lash out, they can scream at others, they can become very aggressive, and sometimes they even get physical in expressing that anger. Now, you can destroy yourself, you can destroy that person you love, you can destroy your relationship in a flash through this wrong approach of managing anger.
I've seen people when they're angry, they break things. They destroy things. Not just things, they become physical. Some men, when they're angry, they fight their wives, do certain things.
Not just men, some women.
Even like women as well, beat and get physical. That is not right. Some people, when they're angry, they say things that they will regret they ever said. Those kind of things.
They would.
And they can't take it back. So for such approach of anger, there could be underlying factors. It's possible that is one way someone has been, getting away with certain things as a child. And the person did not deal with it until now he or she is an adult.
He's an adult. I think that it also is down to family upbringing as well. Because sometimes children tend to pick up what has been modeled to them. So probably they had either of their parents, would usually, express their anger in such a way, and they felt it's totally cool to do this. And they've grown up to do that.
And learn that approach of dealing with
anger.
Issues.
So, I mean, they feel it's the best way to deal with it because this is something that has been modeled before them, and it was successfully modeled before them, and they picked up that habit. Now, it's difficult to get rid of, especially when someone is grown. They would need to go through some counseling in order for them to kind of detox themselves
from that kind of appetite.
Exactly. And you know, some other people have underlying issues, personal issues that they are dealing with, and very personal that they haven't been able to get rid of. So I think that one way that someone can actually deal, someone who is expressing anger in this way,
in
an explosive way, can deal with it, is they would need to seek help.
Yeah. You saying about this now, I am thinking about someone having anger issue, explosive anger issue, because of underlying health issues. It could be mental health issues. For instance, depression and loneliness can put someone in a state of sadness where you become aggressive, you become explosive in expressing your negative feeling.
Yeah.
Explosive anger can also be seen as a mental health issue known as intermittent explosive disorder, which is an impulsive control disorder characterized by a sudden episode of unwarranted anger.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Where this kind of anger is seen in people who go into rage at the slightest provocation. Even sometimes there's no reason.
There's no obvious reason for that. Yes.
They're so angry and explosive.
Yeah. And I think that this kind of anger is often linked to one's childhood experience and other multiple factors.
Yeah, just like you pointed out.
Yes, just like I said earlier.
So if you're listening to us and are watching our video, you're married or you're in a serious relationship and you have this kind of anger issues, I think it's high time you sought professional help.
I just want to say that the reason you need help to sort this out is because from research, it's been discovered that people with chronic temper tantrums, they find it very difficult forming healthy and successful relationships. Now, the struggle persists until one seeks professional help for their anger issues. And it's very important that you do that, because except you don't want to settle in a relationship with anyone, except you just want to. But no man is an island.
Who wants to be in a relationship with someone who has temper issues?
That's true.
You can't predict what they will do per time.
Yes.
They might be happy at the moment, and the next minute, everything is going bonkers.
Yeah. So invariably, we want to say that there's nothing to be ashamed of, because sometimes people feel a bit of a stigma when they are upfront or they come up with wanting to talk about their challenges
or to seek professional help.
They tend to be stigmatized by this. So we want to say that there's no need for you to feel stigmatized. There's no need for you to feel that sense of, I don't want anybody knowing about what I'm dealing with, because it's going to destroy you. So it's very important that you seek help early.
Yeah. Another aspect of negative anger I think is very important we talk about today is impulsive anger. There are people, when they are angry, rather than expressing it in a very constructive way, decide to internalize it.
Yes.
They suppress that feeling. They don't express it.
They hold it
back, and the thing is tearing them apart.
Yes, yes. And I say that, impulsive anger is much like boiling water that has been sealed in a container. So water is boiling and there is no place for the vapor to kind of escape. There's no escape route for the vapor. And if allowed to boil for too long, the pressure builds, and usually the container becomes basically a bomb. To explode. Yes.
Yeah, that's how it happens with human beings when anger is not expressed in a very constructive way. It could get to a point where this person who has been so calm, dealing with it on her own or his own, becomes explosive. That would be dangerous for the relationship.
Yes, and impulsive anger is likely to be a coping mechanism to avoid confronting the problem.
Yeah.
Or even trying to resolve the conflict.
Because you think, if I express my anger, it might lead to conflict.
It may lead to other issues.
So rather than deal with the issues the way it should be dealt with,
you put a lead on it.
Yeah.
Now let's just talk about impact of anger.
We've been talking about it in a way, how it can affect relationships.
Yes. So let's just let's focus on it. Now, when anger is not managed effectively, it becomes chronic. it can impact on your physical health. So I want to start with that because some people feel that when they're angry, they're getting at the other person. But the first person that it actually impacts on is you. It impacts on your health.
It's like planning, you're preparing poison for someone else.
And then you have to take it first.
You test the poison.
You test it. Of course, it's going to affect you. So that's what happens. So high level of anger can result to emotional stress. It can make you susceptible and vulnerable to cardiovascular diseases. And I know there's a whole lot out there. When you think about diabetes as well, it's been linked to anger. When you think about the weakened immune system, when you think about high blood pressure, which is the popular one, and even insomnia, so lack of sleep. For some people, anger leads to that. So it can affect even somebody's mental health, your mental state, your mind, especially when it clouds your thinking.
Your sense of judgment.
So you're not thinking straight, you're not thinking rationally. It can lead even to a sense of loneliness. So you feel like, oh, everyone is angry at me, I'm the only one. And then it leads you to socially isolating yourself because you feel that nobody is there for you.
And then that should also be linked to people not being comfortable to stay with you or stay around you.
Exactly.
Because no one wants
to be associated with
someone with that kind of emotional outburst or emotional expression.
Yes, exactly. People become very uncomfortable around you. So again, it leads to you being alienated. So uncontrolled anger doesn't quite favor you as an individual because people who care about you will want to stay from a safe distance. And that's not good.
I think linking the things you mentioned, the physical points you listed, how anger can impact someone's physical health, you can extrapolate it to other issues as well, because those physical health issues are linked to spending money on healthcare. They are linked to losing your loved ones. If you're in a marital relationship, those can affect it. You can even lose your job. So it's a spiral. It has a spiral effect. Not just that it affects your physical health.
That's true.
I think some of the points we listed in terms of the impact of anger on someone who does not know how to manage anger is that it can, affect different areas of his life, and the person needs this competence.
Yes.
Anger management competence is something you need to move your marriage or your relationship to the next level.
Yes. You can tell your spouse how much you love him or how much you love her, but if you cannot control your anger, your actions will always hurt him or her. And then this makes it difficult for them to actually believe your confession or your profession of your love for them.
Yeah, like we always say, love is not just what you say. Love is not just how much I tell you, I love you. Anyone can say that.
Yes.
The way you know that someone loves you is by the actions the person is willing to take. And some of the actions may involve improving yourself, becoming the best that you can be for this person.
Yes.
And one of which is to learn how to manage anger feelings.
Yes. And I want to say that, most of the arguments that a lot of couples have are linked to angry feelings resolving from the actions or the inactions of their spouse. And this is where communication is very important. Talk about it. If there's something you don't quite understand, or maybe there's something off about what your spouse has done or what he is doing, ask a question. But sometimes as women, we can actually ask and it's totally misunderstood because of how we ask.
And sometimes asking questions can also have ripple effects and lead to angry feelings.
Yes.
So the point is, you must learn how to deal with it.
Yes.
And the first place to start is to look at the root cause. Why is it that you find it difficult to manage your anger feelings? What is the root cause?
It's interesting that you talked about root cause, because another thing following from what you've said is anger a coping mechanism to deal with the feeling of embarrassment, the feeling of insecurity the shame, the hurt, the vulnerability, the guilt, and even anxiety or fear.
Yeah, so you need to know, why am I feeling this way? Is it that I feel insecure?
Yes.
Does it have to do with me? So if it's something that has to do with me, then I know it's not actually the other person. It's not even the problem.
Yeah.
It is how I feel about myself. So I have to deal with my insecurity.
Identify it first.
Yes. So if I deal with my insecurity, then if that kind of issue happens again, I won't feel the same way like I used to feel.
Yes.
So you have to also ask yourself, is anger an issue that is linked to my childhood experience? You know?
Yeah.
If it is something that is linked to my childhood experience, or for instance, there is someone who has modeled
a role model,
yes,
in your childhood,
yes, who has shown me that this is the best way to deal with things.
Yes.
You can reflect and think about your parents, your father, your uncle,
relative,
whoever it is,
exactly,
who you've seen deal with anger this way. That could help you evaluate your life and take a different route, a different step in dealing with angry feeling.
Yes. Anger can also be a sign of underlying health issue. Now, take for example, like we said before, depression, which is a mental health condition. So one way is to actually identify if you have
those kind of mental health issues.
Yes, and seek help early.
Yeah. So when you understand the root cause,
it's easy to deal with it. We just want to say that one of the most important approaches to dealing with anger is for you to control your thought process. Your emotional feeling is a product of what you think about. If you can control that thought process by focusing on the things that you can actually control, you can reduce the things you're likely to be angry about. And I just want to say that, always remember, for anyone watching us right now, always remember you cannot control the actions or the inactions of your spouse. You cannot control what someone does to you. It is not within your sphere of influence. It's not within your circle of influence. However, you can control how you respond to somebody else's action.
Yes. Looking at that, you can also say that there are life circumstances that are beyond your circle of influence.
That's true.
There are things that can happen to you in life. There are events that would occur in life that you don't have the power to control. But in you lies the power to control how you react to it.
Yeah.
So rather than focusing on the things you cannot control, focus on the things you can control. You can control your actions. You can control your feelings. You can control how you respond to your spouse. If your spouse makes you angry, you can control how you feel about it. You're not helpless. It is within your power. The question you have to ask yourself is, what do you think about when you feel angry? It is what you think about that makes you feel the way you do.
Yes.
For instance, if someone has done something that you don't like, the way you process what the person did would either make you feel bad or make you feel okay.
I think it's all about perspective.
Perspective.
Yeah.
So most times we are so self-centered that we look at things from our own point of view, and we don't want to give the other person the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
It is possible that the reason you're so angry, when your spouse explains to you and you listen with the mind of empathy, you realize that she may not be as strong as you think.
That's true.
He or she is.
That's true. And I want to say that it's important to watch out for the things that actually make you angry. And once you see the signs, once you see the triggers, focus on staying cool. It's difficult, especially when it's like building up and the fact that everywhere is charged and supercharged, and you just want to respond. You just want to say that one thing that will make the other person feel bad. Alter the pattern of your reaction. And I think that this takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of self-control. It's not just something that you wake up.
It's not a one-off thing.
Yes. I mean, anyone who has mastered this will also tell you that it took a process to get to that point. So, alter the pattern of your reaction and do something different. This could mean taking a walk. Just take a walk. Go out. Go for a stroll. Leaving the environment. Keeping quiet. Maybe plugging some music. Listening to some music. Just do something different
from what you used to do. And you see the thing, when you think about why you're angry, you might be surprised that the reason is fickle.
Yes.
It's not even important.
That's true.
And we always say that when you see your relationship as a big picture, you see your marriage as the most important thing, your spouse as the most important person in your life, and you feel that anger, ask yourself, if I react the way I want to react, how will the other person feel?
Yeah.
If you don't want to hurt your spouse, if you don't want to destroy your marriage, then leave the reason you're angry behind and focus on building and maintaining a quality relationship.
Yeah, your relationship is more important
than whatever issue that will make you feel
angry, because that issue can actually be solved and sorted.
It is also important that you deal with anger by seeking professional help. We said it earlier on.
Yes.
The reason is, if you don't deal with negative anger management now, it might lead to something you may not like about your marriage, about your life. I know of a man who, out of anger, hit the wife, and that was the end of her life. He regretted it, he cried and all that, but life is gone and it's all gone. Learn to manage your anger. We may not have said it all, and if you think there is a better way of managing anger, if you think there are other ways, other factors that can come into play to be able to manage anger, write your comments in the comment section.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think.
Yes, we would love to read that. And I'll say that, having this conversation, it's not exhaustive. We have lots to say. I mean, there are different views, the different perspectives. Some of what we said you agree with, maybe you not agree with all entirely. So like he said, do let us know. And we want to say thank you. Thank you for watching with us today. And, thank you for sticking with our content. If it's your first time, please hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and if you're a returning subscriber, it was great to see you again. Have a fantastic day ahead. Goodbye.